Hey Arch, this is Ryan with TrendLizard.com. I hope everything's going well with you and yours. Thank you for sending me the email with the tickers that you requested. You wanted me to take another look at Tesla and GBTC, the Bitcoin ETF for you, as well as ARKF, which is the ARK Financial Technology ETF. An absolute stud, or it has been in its short existence, but we're going to take a look at all three of those for you. We're going to get started with Tesla, and again, this is something we've done for you. I think it was last month, so it'll be more of an update. Despite that, I'll still start at the very long-term time frame just to give a little bit of context, and here is that context incepted back in 2010, a large five-wave advance into the 2017 high, and even though it doesn't look like it, this huge three-wave pullback into the 2019 low actually retraced more than 50% of this entire advance here when you use a log scale. Sometimes it's not as apparent, but this was a very large pullback. At that time, off the 2019 low, Tesla embarked on a very large advance that is still going today. It obviously had a huge dip in early 2020 and then has been in an insane straight line advance over the course of the last 6 months or so, and looks to be pausing now and pulling back off of September or maybe August high. We'll take a dive into it and take a little bit closer look to figure out what's going on there. But this is the long-term context of Tesla, and so we will continue to dive in. We'll take a little bit closer look at this advance off the 2019 low because that's all that really matters to us. We want to be looking for a five-wave move to form before it completes, and so in that regard, it is bullish on the long-term time frame because it does not yet sport a five-wave advance. So let's go ahead and zoom in. I'll show you a little more detail here. This is a look at that advance off the 2019 low. You can see we've labeled it down to very small degree time frames here, and I'll show you what I mean. The first wave here was a first, second, third, fourth, and fifth wave, followed by a three-wave pullback into the 2020 low, and from there a very large five-wave advance that appears to have completed in early September. And as you go through the steps here, you can see that each trendy up leg took a trendy form itself took a five-wave form to the upside. So this is all very bullish stuff, and it looks very bullish to the upside. Let's continue to zoom in. We're going to take a look now just at that advance off the 2020 low, and this takes a look at that. It just shows the let me exit out of edit mode there. It just shows the clarity of that five-wave move and why we think an important high is in. With the Elliott wave theory, one of the basis of the theories is that when five-wave moves complete in one direction, you embark on a larger counter-trend move in the other direction, assuming you're not changing the trend overall. So as long as you're not changing the trend, you get a correction of that five-wave move, and that appears to be what's happening here. So you can see the large five-wave move that's played out off of that 2020 low to the upside. It's put in a high. It gave us a very large pullback. It's been trading back and forth since then, but this looks like a large fourth wave correction, a move that is correcting that entire five-wave advance off of March's low. In early September, Tesla moved below 360. This accomplished two things. It represents a deep retracement, or a retracement of more than 61.8% of this fifth wave advance, and it also represented overlap with this high that was recorded back in July. Both are good reasons to make us think that this five-wave move off of March's low completed and that a larger correction is playing out. The other reason is just the basic look and feel of the move. This is the largest pullback we've seen on Tesla in a very long time since March's low was recorded, and it looks like a bigger move. So that's why we think a larger fourth wave pullback is playing out here, and it does not appear to be complete yet. We expect it to continue before the trend turns back up and we get the next big five-wave advance. Let's go ahead and zoom in and look at this advance here. One thing to note where we expect this pullback to end ultimately is somewhere in this yellow area. It's a little bit broad at this point. It goes all the way down from basically 230 to about 330. It's already tested the upper end of this zone, but we expect it to get larger before it's complete, and I'll show you why when we look specifically at the pullback. Something to look at as a comparison is the second wave pullback that played out back in February and March. That was a very sharp move. I'm not necessarily saying that we're going to see another move that is that sharp, but it gives you kind of an idea of the scale or the time frame that we're dealing with, because this fourth wave should be very comparable in size in terms of time. And just more or less magnitude is what we saw here in this second wave. So that's kind of what we're looking for in this fourth wave. Again, looking for a low to occur somewhere in this yellow area here. So we'll go from there. So let's go ahead and take a little closer look at the pullback itself. And this is why we don't think it's over. You have this down leg in September. It does look like a three-wave move, which is a good start. And then a recovery, another three-wave move, a down move, which is another three-wave move, and then the recovery that's kind of kicked up over the course of this week. We're obviously seeing three-wave moves in both directions. That's good news because it means the pullback is a counter-trend move. But the other aspect of that is it doesn't look like it's complete yet. It doesn't look like this pullback has ended. We might see a little bit more strength in the coming week or two as this B wave completes, but we do expect a sharper down leg, a C wave down at some point to drive us to new lows for this pullback. And again, we expect it to drive somewhere into this yellow support area before it ultimately completes. So that's what we're looking for. As far as trading it is concerned, we need to see a larger pullback form before we'd be interested in trading Tesla. It is a counter trend move. That's good stuff. But if we get a move even back down to September's low or into that yellow support area we were looking at there, that's a pretty big difference from buying it right here. It's not an opportunity for us to buy right now. What I need to see is I need to see a new low established below the low that occurred back in looks like September 8th or 9th, whenever that was, for us to get into kind of a buy posture at that point. Once we get that new low, once we get a C wave down, then I'd be looking to buy some trendy strength from there. So that's what we'll be looking for. The pullback does not appear to be over, but it should be a buying opportunity once we get a move to a new low and start to see some trendy upside strength from there. So there is Tesla. Let's go ahead and move on now to GBTC, which is the Bitcoin Trust, basically a Bitcoin ETF. We've taken a look at this one for you before as well. So let's go ahead and kind of recap where we're at. It was incepted back in 2015, except for a little blip at the start of its life time there. It gave us a very nice 5-wave advance to the upside. This is when Bitcoin was all the rage, found a high in very late 2017, and embarked on a very large counter-trend pullback at that point. Off of the 2019 low, it's kind of gone back and forth to the a little bit up, a little bit down, a little bit up again. It's kind of been all over the place since that time. On a very large term time frame, this is bullish. We have trendy upside movement, or a trendy movement to the upside, and we have counter trend movement to the downside. Those are both bullish things. So we need to dive a little bit closer into what's happened since 2019 to determine what path it might take and what path Bitcoin itself might take from here to see how this is going to progress. So let's go ahead and do that, drive in a little bit here. This takes a look at the first possibility. Okay, we're going to look at two different possible ways to label this. Again, you have that 5-wave advance to the upside and the 3-wave pullback. That's constant no matter whatever other way we look at this. We are confident in that labeling there. It's only what's happened off the 2019 low. One possibility is that we had a first wave up and a second wave pullback, and we are now in a third wave advance. This is not my favorite labeling. The main reason is because of the retracement that this second wave put out there. This red line that you can see here represents a 61.8% retracement of this up leg, and this second wave pullback absolutely blew through that to the downside. This looks like something other than the start of a new trendy up move, and I'll show you what it looks like to me. This is a better fit to me. That 3-wave pullback in 2018 fits as an A wave, and we've been in a larger B wave since then with the C wave down yet to come. On its own, that doesn't sound like a very bullish proposition. The good news is when we get into a shorter term time frame, we see that there is a buying opportunity that points this guy higher, at least in the near to midterm time frames, once we complete what GBTC is doing right now. Excuse me. So let's go ahead and take a little bit closer look here. This is that 5-wave advance off of the 2019 low. And then you have that deep retracement in that 3-wave pullback. All of this is what we consider part of a B-wave advance, but we consider it to not yet be over, and we think there's a pretty good buying opportunity along the way, and here's why. After it recorded a low in 2020, what we've seen is a very nice, trendy 5-wave advance that completed in August and is now undergoing correction. It's already moved down to the yellow support area. This is the area that we expect a low to be found to this pullback before we get another 5-wave advance to the upside that will eventually move above the 2019 high and potentially beyond as we get a larger C wave up to complete a larger B wave advance. As you can see here, this would be the C wave up in a larger B wave advance to the upside here. So we see this getting back at least up to the 2019 high, potentially above, before this recovery, this B wave ends and a C wave down begins. Now, as far as the pullback itself is concerned, this is what we've seen off of August high. There's very good reason to think that this pullback is not yet over. That initial down leg off of August high looks like a 5-wave move. So to me, that looks like an A wave. So we're expecting a B wave up, something that probably should stay below 1325. And then we're going to get another C wave down to complete this pullback. So if we take a step back out, just to put that into perspective again, we're looking for a pullback low to end in this area, but we don't think it's over yet. We expect this pullback that began in August to become a 3-wave move before it completes. Now, it needs to complete above 850 for it to remain bullish. We fully expect it to, but I guess the bottom line is this is not a buying opportunity right now. Once it's clear that this pullback off of August's high is in, once it's clear that pullback has completed to the downside, then we'll know we have a buying opportunity. It just doesn't look like it's there yet. And this is a recurring theme across the market. We see a lot of potential out there, but we expect larger pullbacks to form first. GBTC is no exception. We're looking for a larger bounce at some point and then a next C wave down to complete this second wave and then give way to strength from there. So once we get that larger 3-wave pullback, then it will be a buying opportunity, and then we can start talking about the buying levels and things like that, and I'll be more than happy to look at it with you at that time to give you some buying opportunities as this pullback develops. Not a buying opportunity right now. Wait it out, give it a little bit more time. So there is GBTC for Bitcoin. Let us take a look at one more, and that is ARKF, ARKF, the FinTech Innovation ETF by ARK. So this guy hasn't been around for too long. It's been around since 2019. It's kind of up and down, had a little bit of a rough ride, of course, in 2020, early 2020, like so many things did. I'm calling this whole thing a corrective move. It really doesn't matter too much. The only thing that matters is what's happened off of March, because this really has defined this ETF in its existence so far. What we have off of March's low is a very clear, strong 5-wave advance. Not a surprise. We're seeing the same pattern everywhere. That's great. That's bullish. The thing is, it appears like it could be over. Now, if it is over, it means that we are now undergoing a larger correction, which again is not a surprise. We're seeing that all over the place. So that is something we will have to take a look at as we zoom in and take a closer look here at ARKF. I wanted to show you this chart here to drive home one point, and that is that ARKF moves very closely with the NASDAQ. You can see the little black line here. That is the NASDAQ. The black and red line shows ARKF. They moved basically lockstep over the course of this advance in 2020. They were both pulling back off of September's high and look like they want to head lower. Point being, it appears to me that the 5-wave advance that has been in place since March is over, similar to as it is on QQQ, which we follow, as you know, every day at TrendLizard.com. So here's a look at that labeling of the advance off the March 2020 low. It's a very extended move. It's a very straight line move. Everything that's happened to the upside since March has been trendy. Every pullback has been a counter trend move until September. Things have changed. That's another reason to think that a larger pullback is beginning here on ARKF. And what we're looking for is for this pullback to continue down into this yellow area here, which resides from about 27 up to about 33 over the next 1 to 3 months as it corrects this big 5-wave advance. Let's go ahead and zoom in and look a little bit closer at what's going on ARKF. This takes a look at that the pullback in September. This is how you can tell things have changed here. You get that first pullback off of September's high. It's a very sharp move that took on a 5-wave form on a very small time frame. Since then, it's given us choppy sideways movement that fits as a B wave. Probably a B wave, could be a second wave in a more bearish scenario if we're going to get a sharper pullback. To me, I'm going with what the trend is dictating, and that tells me to call this a B wave recovery at this point in time. So further chop is possible, but at some point we have to expect another 5-wave decline. That's the only thing to expect looking at a pattern like this. You're getting trendy downside movement, counter trend upside movement, and it's a setup for another big C wave down, which again should drive ARKF down into this yellow support area at some point before the pullback completes. So Arch, just like everything else you've sent to me, the potential's there. It looks great overall, but it's in a larger pullback right now. This is not a buying opportunity. I think a lot of people realize that when they're sending these videos to me, that it's not a scenario where you're going to want to buy anything right now and you want a good entry level. It's kind of one of those deals where you need it to develop a little bit more before you have a very clear-cut entry level. And on a lot of these guys, what we want to see is just a larger three-wave pullback, ideally with a sharp C-wave down to complete the move, because when you get ending patterns, that's just a great setup, a sharp move that fits as an ending pattern. It's a great setup to buy it in the other direction once you start seeing some strength. So all of these guys have potential, but they just need to give us larger counter trend pullbacks first. Once you get clear three-wave moves to the downside that look like they've done enough to correct these up moves on all three of the stocks and ETFs that you sent to me, then you have a buying opportunity. And again, I'm more than happy to walk you through that as these patterns progress. Right now, we don't have a clear-cut entry level that we can use until these pullbacks progress a little bit more. So I hope what I did offer to you was helpful. And of course, I can take a look at these for you again next month and kind of figure out where exactly you're going to want to get in as these pullbacks wrap up. So that's it for me. Have a wonderful weekend, Arch, and we'll talk to you very soon. Take care.